and welcome once again to the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for. I'm the OGEO,
All right, it's T-Bar the Street Shark.
and welcome once again to some more sneaker business talk. And we're going to dive right in today into something historic, something phenomenal. We're going to talk about the history of the December holiday Air Jordan 11 release. Just talk about those details and kind of peel back those layers. And, Shark and I are going to go back and forth on some of the releases that are memorable to us and some colorways they probably should have left behind. But we are doing this because, believe it or not, we've done our research. This is now, this year, the 23rd release of a Jordan 11 in December. So number 23, 23rd release. We thought it would be good to just throw this out there. So Shark, I know you've been there since the very beginning from the OGs, but the first retro officially 2000, that Space Jam, December 13th of 2000. And from that point on, there was a little break. And then Jordan Brand said, we can do this every December. And it's been that way ever since 2008. So you want to dive right into some of your memorable 11s or how times have changed from being in the lines to being online to now you getting a sneak peek and you actually getting early access and all of those things. But it's remarkable to me how the Jordan 11 really set things off to be the holiday shoe for the past almost 20 years now, man.
Yeah, especially because there's checkpoints along the way. But when we talk about that inception point, those were a different time and a different age. But for me, that was college time. So when you're talking about time, resources, location, where you're at, all of those came into a factor on how you acquired. So I went to school that wasn't near a metropolitan area, so you had limited options. So that meant that you had to have relationships. So I already knew the people that worked in the shoe stores. I was able to have those conversations in advance, and then it was, you got it. How many size 12s are you getting? You only getting 2 or 3? I'm like, well, one of those has got my name on it, and just being able to walk away with that pair, especially the Space Jams or the Concords. I had an affinity for the cool gray 11s just because, that was like Jordan Wizards time anyway. And that wasn't a original colorway, so for them to come out with that shoe, because again, Jordan was on the Wizards while I was in college. So just seeing him actually wear the shoe on the court and then rocking my home team's jersey, that like it just cemented the Jordan 11 cool gray. And then I had like that was like velour suit era, and Rockaware suits, so I had the gray denim patch, Rockaware sweatsuit to match, so you couldn't tell me nothing back then. Cooling with my cool grades.
Boy, what a time to be alive. Arguably, I had this argument with a few people about are the black and red more popular than the Concords because as far as the Christmas release, I know because of the colorway and so forth. But Shark, that shoe has now been released 4 times in December. So it's always like a go-to. And the very first time it retroed in 2008, you want to talk about madness. And I'll never forget because it was almost like years. Well, it retro 2001. And then I think 2008, you start to see the peak of the popularity of sneakers to where it wasn't just the old heads complaining about, yeah, I haven't retro this shoe in a while. Let's get this petition out on Nike Talk and, Soul Collector and these websites and so forth. That black and red in 2008, and then the Space Jam in 2009, it kind of marked where things were really getting crazy, really getting hectic as far as lines, reselling, and so forth. So that was the first time I saw, wow, this is really holiday madness out here with these Jordan 11s. And I'm not sure who at Jordan Brand caught on, but since that point, it's been December releases. And it's been not only a theme, but it's been just pivotal in the culture now, man. It's like it's December. It's like, okay, what 11's coming out? What they doing this time? And people are on that like in the summertime, waiting to see what 11 is coming out in December. So I think it's a good marketing ploy. I think that other brands have also kind of galvanized that as well. But December and the Jordan 11 is almost like synopsis of one another. Christmas, what 11 is coming out, from copying it, from not copying it. If it's an OG colorway or was it a new rendition or so forth, it's always been a conversation and a thing to where if you like it or don't like it, it still brings on that publicity and that conversation for years now. But I can clearly recall the Concourse 2011, where I actually felt like I am somebody. That box, the paper, the blue film that was all over the box when you first opened it up. The remember the Concord shoehorns that were in it, the plastic shoehorns
Uh-huh.
that were in there. That was the first time I got a shoe that felt like I got the full shebang bang as far as full packaging and everything. So the 2011 Concord with me was something special.
Yeah,
But
so
all
let's actually snapshot that time really quick, because that was an important pivot point in this timeline. We talked about
mhm,
what it was like, in the early 2000s. Well, you didn't have it was a bigger gap in between the retros, or there was no retro at all, and so there was a different level of excitement when it came out, and it wasn't a watered down. Oh, this is the third, fourth time now.
true.
No, that was the first time where it hadn't. We didn't know it was gonna come back. But then when you got to the end of the 2000, getting to 2010, that we're talking peak camp season. All
Mm,
right. So the camping culture was at its peak around that time. We were getting into Nike, Kanye West, and other really sought after releases. But it was the Concord Christmas and then the Galaxy Foam Posit All Star.
there you go.
That 2-3 month snapshot changed the next decade.
Literally.
I don't care what anybody says.
Mhm.
That's when release links were became a thing, and then all these levels of security for raffles, and then in particular the madness, and then another wave of violence associated with the madness, therefore leading to bad PR
Mhm.
throughout the country. Where now all of a sudden everyone's going crazy over these releases, and you would it act like it was the Popeye chicken sandwich or whatever, where everyone's just going crazy and the lines are crazy. People, getting crushed, waiting at the doors, and then knocking over people running through the malls. And then there was a lot of, meme and viralness, because, of course, local news outlets just who they're selecting when they want to do interviews or whatever. So the culture didn't have an opportunity to look good, and everyone acted like savages. But I just wanted to pinpoint that time of that particular Christmas to All Star, that same season, Concord Jordans, All Star, Galaxy Foam Posits. That those 3 months changed the game, and it didn't, and we haven't gone back since. I can't even. It's hard to tell good, bad, or indifferent. But that was a point where that was in Marvel terms, that was the Nexus event where the timeline split, and then we had a whole new realm that we were dealing with. So just wanted to pause and highlight that snapshot.
And that snapshot is important too, Tony, because worldwide it seemed, particularly in the United States, it was a black eye on the culture because it was like, oh my gosh, it's December. This Jordan is coming out. I can't go. Me and my grandma can't go to the mall. I mean, that's how bad it was. And this was not just in the inner cities around. This was everywhere. This in suburbs, anywhere you went, like nationwide. So again, that probably sounds foreign to some of our younger viewers now, but trust me, it was a thing. This pre-social media. So you're on message boards, you're on websites, you go on these news sites, and it became a thing to where, oh, don't go to the mall during this time because things are going to happen because of those shoes that are coming out. So that was definitely a thing. But getting back to the 11s, and given that they only had basically four highs, literally, as far as OGs. Got the Concords, got the Black and Reds, got the Columbias, and then, of course, I guess if you want to consider the Space Jams OG because he did wear them in the movie, fine. But then Nike had to kind of shift to say, okay, fine, what we're going to do. So you had the Gammas, you got the Win Like 96s, you have the Jubilees that's not too far old from a few years ago, the all gray suede. So there have been different renditions, but I think no rendition, again, like you mentioned, Tony, outbeats as far as a retro plus colorway, if you will, that cool gray. But shout out to Jordan Brand also bringing out those red velvet GSs in 2016. I remember the females rocking those, and it was a different silhouette to how the 11 looks because of the material. So I remember a lot of females really rocking those, really like those. But overall, I'm thinking of a colorway that I really didn't care for at all when it came to a December colorway. Because you got to think, how can you mess up an 11? And I want to ask you, Shark, was there any release in December that you were like, I'm really passing on this? Because usually with us, it's like December 11th, I'm confident even if I don't kind of like it.
Well, you know, I'll lead and say that there was a slept-on colorway, and that was the Gamma. Since you mentioned it or whatever, I love the Gammas,
Hmm.
and I remember hanging on to them for a while, and then I saw people started having second guessing, and didn't want to pay ridiculous prices for them, so I got rid of mine. But Gammas were definitely slept on. I think what changed my mind when I just didn't stick with the routine of copying them every year is when they changed the style, because they went back and forth trying to get these retro elements. So meaning like that thicker, like, well, I'm not gonna say thicker, but wider patent leather. So I just didn't feel like they got off the gate telling the story that this is more like what it used to look like,
Mm.
because we had so much time in between and kept getting these retro models. And then, you would see that they were getting a little lazy. Like even the same toes wasn't, the toe boxes weren't fully aligned, especially when you that vertical look down, where there's just a little off. It wasn't even centered, and it was just like, do you care? And then the varying degrees of the the comfort, because not just the holiday releases, but we all know you had to be there to know this. But that countdown pack, all right, and that 11-12 countdown pack was the top countdown pack, because literally you got the two best Jordans together, and for those that don't know, they had to add up to 23, and that bread in 11 in the countdown pack was horribly
Garbage.
discomfortable. All right, that thing, you got either you're rubbing your heel, or it was just it didn't give you the support. It was like, was it fake carbon fiber or something? Like whatever it was, it just didn't mold with your foot like previous retro models. And the 11, that held up so well, if you actually played in them or off the court, other than some of the oxidation issues that you might have had with the Space Jams in particular. That the first retro before they came back with the retro that had the actual extra packaging and everything, and Bugs Bunny calls the signatures and carrots or whatever, just to signify that relationship to the Space Jam movie. But because the first or the second retro, that got yellow so quick. Like you didn't have to wear that shoe, because I was one of those people that didn't wear the shoe, and then within a year, it wasn't just a little yellow ring. Like the whole thing is turning yellow. And then they just did a way better job with the subsequent Space Jam retro release. So just sometimes you just have to know where it was, what it was, to appreciate what you're getting. But to bring it full circle, I think what has watered it down too, where I hope this doesn't turn into a hand to dunk situation, because they're releasing them for full family sizes. All
Mm.
right. And that's what was different from the past because you didn't get. I mean, full family all the way down to the infant.
The
So
newborn.
so now look at social media, and now the whole house look the same. Everyone has the cherry red 11s, and then everyone has their Christmas outfits, and all the cousins, everybody's wearing the same stuff. So, that's what it has become, looking like holiday greeting cards with family photos, because you got family size runs of these 11s that are releasing during the holidays. So, not necessarily this big bad thing, but when you leave the house and go to the holiday party, then everyone's still wearing the same stuff, and then the variants of you see the memes of the outfits that they put together, where don't wear this, and then these brands, they know what's coming out. You know um Someone, you'll hear a story like Damon John or Fubu, like back in the day, he was sliding, you know, uh, you know, insiders at Nike and other brands to get the Pantone color codes of what was they were coming out with, so that he could make apparel to match. And so a lot of these brands, that's what they're doing, is that they are coming up with black and red or whatever they know is coming, and they're just going to come out with that palette, and therefore you might be attacking the clones in late December and January. So just let it breathe a little bit. Bring them out in the summertime or something like that. But that was always my philosophy. But yeah, just holiday season. I think when they started tweaking the width of the patent leather. Sometimes it hit and sometimes it didn't, because the wider the width, like, then you had some that would have like the leaning tower. Like if you just looked at
Yeah.
it from the heel point of view, and then one is straight on, and then the other one's like it's not fully aligned. Yeah, and then you have a little leaning tower of Jordan 11. So now we just got into some, highs and lows, pun intended, with the Jordan 11s during the Christmas time. So I think it's a good time in this episode for show and tell. So with this year, we have the Jordan 11 gratitude. All right, so this is a homage to the just the defining moments package, and especially the original one that came with packaged with the six, and it was gold Jumpman on there. So it's like a Concorde, but then just add a gold Jumpman, and then you had a defining moment. And then now we're coming out. It's not a package. So if you are sneakers member and you're active on the site, you might have gotten the notification for the exclusive early access. So I already have it right here. We got you. It's the shark, baby. All right, we practice what we preach over here. So let's get get inside. Look, so there's the box. We already got some ink signature on the inside. Look at that. See, we don't even have this on inside of any other boxes. So love how they just keep doing something a little different each year. We don't have the cover like we have in the past. So we just got some good tissue paper right there. Let's just dive in, right? So we already had a women's uh, 11 already come out recently, but here, let's just dive in right here. Look at that. Look at that. We got the gold Jumpman. We got the gold 23 on the back. All right. And so we don't have a full clear. So this is like this cloudy. I'm not gonna call it milky because it's not. Well, yeah, I think that's what it is. So I think so. These are definitely something that'll get multiple wears for me, just because I'm always scared of that. The iciness of the super clear. So because you remember when it came out, when it was so clear that it was blue, and then that was a turn off to a lot of OG enthusiasts. But now, what I want to hone in here again, soul material. So let's look at the details really quick, because look at this leather on the tongue and around the toe box. But I hope that the camera can pick this up, because if you look at the other panels that wrap the top of the foot, it's actually a different leather. All
Yeah.
right, it's tumbled here, here, and here, and then when you get to these panels, this is the smooth leather, and the same thing on the tongue, smooth leather, and then once you get to the Jumpman insignia right here, then it gets to tumbled leather. So I actually didn't notice this on other models, that distinction of smooth leather and then boom transition into tumbled leather. I'm not mad at it. At first, when I looked at it, I was just like, I don't know if I like this, but because I love tumbled leather, so I wanted all uh, all tumbled. But then you have the smooth leather here. So again, I love balance and symmetry, so that's why I'm not mad, because it all flows and it makes sense. All right, and then again, it's like when we're talking about the fatness, we're talking about this, where it could have like all the way up here.
Mhm.
It's more dramatic on the inside of the shoe than it is on the outside. But when you have inconsistencies in this cut, and then one shoe is more wavy and higher than the other shoe, that's what we're talking about. And then
Definitely.
let's since we're doing show and tell, let me grab the second shoe, and we'll give you the heel test on these live in this episode. All right. So when I say the heel test, this is what I'm talking about. We got any leaning towers over here? I don't think so.
No,
But
we've
you can
seen
see,
worse.
yeah, we've seen worse, but we can see how
Mhm.
do they. But I'm not on a super flat surface. Let me see if I can do that just to see for contrast how much of a varying degree we have. So I'm actually going to sit it on the box. All right. So this is sitting flat on the box. Now,
I think I,
is
I
the
think that's some
patent
good
leather the same
craftsmanship.
height on both sides?
Good craftsmanship on those, definitely.
Yeah. So we're looking really good. I think we're passing the test over here. We're passing at least the eyeball test. So again, see if we can get that around. And then so now you got that extra buttery tumbled leather on
Hmm.
the tongue. All right. So these are coming out again for more general release, but I already got them for that exclusive access from the sneakers app. So good show and tell from the shark. Got him. There you go. Gratitude. Um, Jordan 11 for the 2023 holiday season. Look at that back. You see that shine on the 23 on the back
Hmm.
because it's more metallic, like the Jumpman. So it's not just the painted 23 on there that's gonna crack, kind of like those Space Jams. You know which ones I'm talking about. No, this one has some texture to it. There you go. Details. We love the details over here at the Soul Material Podcast because
Great
that's
there.
what we're about. All right. So, any other closing remarks from the OG
Oh,
for
just
the
given what you have
Jordan
shown, it
11?
looks like the uh, Jordan 11 December release will continue. So as we are in the 23rd edition of the overall shoes, we even get a chance to talk about some of the times they doubled up. 2014, they had the Columbias come out, and then those Carolina Blue ones that came out right afterwards, and so forth. But we're on the 23rd edition. It's good to see the 23rd edition that you got is a clean pair. I think those will be very popular. I think people are really dissecting those aren't Concords, but they're not DMP. Like, no, a lot of times I like what they do when they have their own thing, like I said, with the details and with the materials. That is a pair you just kind of sold me on because I was 50-50 being the OG and then having the DMPs. And I always wanted nothing but the cloth material in upper because that's all it was outside of the Columbia. So, and then the cool grays, I'm like, oh, it's suede. I can do it. So those I can definitely
Yeah, you're
get.
talking about that mesh, the tongue,
Yes,
and the upper. Yeah.
definitely,
Because
definitely,
those
definitely,
got yellow too, but it's okay.
definitely, definitely. But it looks like the Jordan 11 for December is here to stay for a while. And great pair that you showed off, Shark. Excellent pair.
There you go. That's what we're about, giving you clarity over popularity over at the podcast you cheer for and the channel you cheer for. So There you go, spreading that holiday cheer to our fans. Make sure you stop by our IG page, our YouTube channel, and whatever podcast platform you choose to listen to. Stay tuned as we wrap up 2023 and give you some more nuggets, and then let's get kicked off for 2024. All right. So I think that's a good place to end for this particular episode. So, and signing off is T Mark the Street Shark.
And OGO, peace to you. Till next time.
Peace.
Sneaker business talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.